Hi everyone, Sarah Burt from EarthWise. Is your body feeling really tired? Is your body feeling really wired? Do your emotions feel like they're completely taking over sometimes and you can't regulate them properly? Do you feel as well that your metabolism's slowing down a bit, feeling a bit sluggish, and that's leading to mental apathy and just feeling not that great? Well, this could all be down to balance of the endocrine system. But because not a lot of people even know what the endocrine system consists of, I thought it would be good to just do a little talk today on what exactly the endocrine system is, what usually will present itself if it's out of balance, what usually is prescribed to us through the medical orthodox profession to help with these symptoms, and how we can in turn pick natural foods, supplements, and in some cases herbal tonics that will actually help us to regulate these ourselves a lot better. And in doing so, we bring about natural harmony and balance into the body, restoring it by using these ancient healing methods rather than just suppressing the symptoms and trying to cope with how we're feeling. So the first and most obvious way that the endocrine system is going to show it's out of balance is by adrenal fatigue and burnout. So this feeling really of just can't really cope anymore. I'm frazzled. I'm so frazzled that my brain doesn't feel like it's switching off at night. I'm frazzled because my brain is just working all the time, and therefore the result is I'm feeling fatigued. And of course stress plays a major factor in this, because what it's actually doing is disrupting our HPA axis, and that is our hypothalamus, pituitary and adrenal axis, very linked glands in our body. The hypothalamus actually being the master gland. It regulates everything from our temperature to our hunger levels, to our sleep cycles, to our libido, our emotional status. It's absolutely a key player. It is the CEO really of our whole hormonal endocrine balance, and the pituitary gland is very linked with that, and that regulates obviously all our sex hormones, our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, etc., and therefore very important when that goes out of balance. And then our adrenal axis, of course, is producing too much adrenaline and cortisol in our system, so we really need that to be balanced. What is usually prescribed in this case is sleeping aids to help us sleep if we're too wired. SSRIs are the drug of choice to basically help to induce a better feeling, and very worst, what we're told is just to rest. But none of it is actually getting to the root of the problem, and this is where the group of adaptogens comes in such great use, because adaptogens such as Siberian ginseng, for example, is a really good choice because it helps to build endurance in our bodies. We've got rhodiola, which is a bit more of a punchy adaptogenic herb, and it really helps to boost energy levels, but it also can recalibrate our natural rhythms in our body. We've got ashwagandha. I talk a lot about that because it's one of my most favorite herbs. It's a very gentle acting herb, and that's really good, particularly where anxiety and overwhelm are major players. Then we've got something called gotu-kola, another one of my favorites because it's got lots of sort of other actions that it can present in the body, but it's particularly good for memory and alertness in the brain. So those are 4 really great herbs that are widely available as teas or tinctures or even capsule form that to look out for if you are suffering with any of those symptoms. But in general, vitamin C, 1000 milligrams once or twice a day, vitamin B5, 50 milligrams a day are fantastic, as well as magnesium glycinate in the form glycinate, 400 milligrams a day for adrenal health. And so that really that's a collection of some nice things that you can incorporate into your daily regime to help to re-stabilize this on your own. Bone broth, oily fish, pumpkin seeds and leafy green vegetables will also give you those nutrients to help towards that. The second thing, of course, is brain fog or mental alertness, concentration not being very good. And this is usually due to hormone fluctuations in estrogen and cortisol, together with inflammation and the liver not clearing properly. So those are the 4 key players of why that will happen. And generally what happens, of course, is we're just given HRT to regulate those fluctuating hormones. We might even be given sort of or start including more stimulants in our diet like caffeine to just try and keep us going. But in actual fact, herbs that come into play here would be something called Schizandra, which is a really wonderful for the memory, for the liver, and it's an adaptogen as well, one of those lovely tonics that helps with the adrenal glands. We've got rosemary, which is widely growing available and made into a tea, or using the essential oil, 1 or 2 drops of rosemary, pure essential oil. It can really enhance brain function, and it helps circulation up to the head area, so it makes us much quicker on the ball, and it's a great liver tonic as well. We've also got gotu kola that comes in again, because of course it's really good for that mental focus. It's really good at clarity, and our omega-3s, B complex vitamins and zinc are essential with these regards of balancing out the systems that will really help with mental clarity. Of course, thirdly, what will come in is hormonal changes. So it'll be irregular cycles, or it will be mood alterations, or it could actually be loss of libido, where we're going to see signs here. And this is due to estrogen dominance primarily, and progesterone crashing. So what we really don't want to do is just take the pill or HRT, because they override our natural rhythmic cycles, and we're not actually going to get anywhere, because it's just as soon as we stop taking them, it'll come back again. And SSRIs, of course, are another prescribed drug to help us deal with these. But in actual fact, what we need is to try and regulate that imbalance ourselves. And Vitex agnus castus, which is chaste tree, is a wonderful herb and widely available for helping the indicate or command the pituitary gland to start to make some more progesterone itself. So that's a no-brainer to introduce that into on a daily basis. But passion flower, one of the most beautiful and available teas or herbs, that is a wonderful nervine, a nervous system restorative, and it basically helps to just calm the system down. So that's also very, very good for helping. Magnesium, B6, zinc, evening primrose oil are all really important supplements with regards to hormone production. And then we've got things like flaxseed and vitamin D and oily fish, which can also help to produce essential fatty acids 6 and 9, which really influence hormone production. Starflower oil and EPO, evening primrose oil, are the same thing. So a wonderful supplement for women to take when hormones are out of balance. We've then got, lastly, but very much going to show, is thyroid imbalance. Now, it's very unclear for us once we have our bloods tested whether our thyroid is imbalanced, because what usually happens is they will test us for our TSH levels and our T4 levels. The most important one really, though, is the T3 levels, which will indicate whether or not T4 is actually being converted into T3, which is the one that keeps the thyroid gland very healthy. So private blood tests are an option here, just to really get a true reading of your thyroid gland. You can also test your with a basal thermometer. Take your temperature every morning, first thing in the morning before you move a muscle, get out of bed, you take your temperature, and if it is below 36 on a daily basis, then you can be absolutely sure that your thyroid is under functioning. So in this case, of course, we're put on levothyroxine, and after a time of using levothyroxine, the thyroid gland will become irreparable in terms of doing its own job. So it's really, really advisable not to, unless you really, really have to, take thyroxine. Other things as an alternative are iodine-rich foods. So bladderwrack and kelp, the sea vegetables basically that the Japanese eat a lot of all the time, are wonderful at providing the nutrients that the thyroid really needs to regulate properly. We've got as well, zinc is very, very important in that respect. So if we're going to use foods, then you've got your seafoods that are really, really important, but Brazils and eggs also contain a lot of the other nutrients, which are selenium, zinc, iodine, that actually are really good. But there's also an amino acid called L-tyrosine, which is meant to be very, very good for helping this regulation of the thyroid gland. Ashwagandha, again, going back to ashwagandha, one of my favourite adaptogen herbs, it can really help to regulate the thyroid. So in every formula that I work with ladies with hormonal problems, ashwagandha is one of the main ingredients that goes in there. Then we've got bacopa, which helps with brain function, but it eases the stress that actually depresses the thyroid gland. So there's a handful of very easy, accessible to get herbs that we can use, and herbs are just trying to restore the natural rhythms in our bodies. They're not trying to do the job for us, and they're trying to nourish the glands, and when they nourish the glands, we stop fighting our own biology, and in that case what we can then do is allow the body to just do what it does anyway, and we don't need to replace hormones or anything else artificially. Really important, guys, that we start to look after ourselves, go back to the ancient ways of healing ourselves, which our ancestors did all the time, if we can. Hope that's been helpful. That's it for this week. Do like, do comment, please get in touch if there's anything you'd like me to clarify more. Always happy to help, and until next time, over and out. Bye.